I agree with you. This is through the Atheist Hub on altering words is silly to fit a definition, but when a group takes on a characteristic, right? Like Muslim just meant believer in Arabic. It applied to anybody. But a specific group of people rose up and claimed that name. And the communism is a religion crap. I don't buy either. But I do disagree with you. Not about secularism. Secularism is good, and if people are going to argue for that, then why did the Christian movements set secularism in action? And Jesus seemed to advocate for it. So my issue is, I would 100% agree with you if you said this 15 years ago. My disagreement is that for many it seems to be, and I'll explain why. Because of dogmas, because of instantly accepted beliefs and actions, and there's seems to be heresy among it. It's very strange, and it seems to be developing. And I won't say that because, okay, let's start out. Atheism is, you could, lack of belief in God, no God, right? People can dwell on theism and deism. Technically they're the same words, but we apply two different meanings to them. So I don't buy, oh no, it's just without it, you know. But it's just without a theistic God. No, it means without God. But what do the vast majority, and that's what we have to talk about, because there's people who call themselves Muslims, Christians, there's not really solid definitions. It's what we make of it and how we treat it. So with atheism, you immediately have, among most people, among many people I've seen, most atheists, in fact, all that I've seen, there's an immediacy of, it just goes with it, materialism. The second will be a reactionary attitude towards things. It's very funny because this is my argument, that people should be rational and reasonable and look at the evidence, and that not just be an evangelical Christian, be shown that there's an error in scripture or something like that, and then, oh, the Bible's wrong, so Jesus isn't real, and blah blah blah, and go into that, because it hasn't solved the problem at all. You still have an uneducated person with all these traits who's just gone one God less, and that's damaging atheism. That's, I think, how this religion of atheism pretty much rose up. Not that all atheists are under this category, but there definitely is, and there are a significant amount of people, especially online and especially on YouTube, that treat it like this. The immediate reaction to, hey, the Moabite Blightstone, the Shemesh Stele, the Tel Dan inscription, that actually shows that there was a King David and a dynasty of David, and these biblical kings existed. And the reaction, as if that immediately means Christianity is true, or, you know, the fact that the vast, I mean, 99% of scholars accept Jesus existed. And people, you say that, and people will react to it. And I've even heard people say, well, who cares? Even if he existed, it doesn't, you know, we should tell people he didn't, because Christianity's wrong. So you have that overriding it. You could still say an ideology does that, and that ideologies do this. But the fact that you're making a stance and you're defining things on a theological basis, because atheism still is in the realm of theology. You're addressing a theological point. And the fact that this seems to mold around that, and that there seems to be almost this hysterical thing when you say, well, Jesus existed, and there's things we can know about him historically that we can say for sure. And we know the kings of Israel existed, and that's well documented in the historical record. And we know Paul wrote these 7 letters, but not these. These are forgeries, and these are actually anti-Paul. Actually, that's the best way to disprove Christianity, because you can show, look, this is, or Christianity comes from the Bible. That's a common myth that Protestants strive over. I mean, the Bible didn't exist for the first 300 to 600 years of Christianity. There's no Bible as we see it now. So there are legends, and there are attitudes, and there are definitely dogmas that if you don't believe this, you're not one of us. Again, that doesn't go with somebody who just says, I don't believe in a God, I'm an atheist, you know. But it's definitely a merging thing, like you'd see at the beginning of people saying, no, I'm a Muslim, you're a Christian, even though it just meant believer in God. And Islam being something particular instead of just submission to God. And these I find troubling, because I think it's poisoning the rational, reasonable, skeptical side of things. It's poison. And we need to say, whoa. We need to address it and say, yeah, and say, look, we can actually, reading these as historical texts, not, there's no error in them. It's saying they are historical texts and from the time, and we know what they're usually like, and we can actually see the embellishments. I mean, there's the earliest Gospels don't mention a virgin birth. Say Jesus had brothers and sisters, that he was son of Joseph, basically natural son of Joseph, and then Jesus says, you know, I'm the son of Joseph, and this and that, and he gets crucified, and that's it. The miracles, that's normal for that time. You'd have miracles like that crap. But then you see the changes in Matthew, and then the changes in Luke, and then the independent gospel of John, this tradition spiking up, and then Paul, and you know, all this stuff. You can actually get right down to the core and say, yes, you know, this is what actual intellectual history, what scholars and academia agree about, and push off the supernatural. And it doesn't have to be sacrificing facts or knowledge because you want to override something. And just because you would sacrifice the truth for something else doesn't because communists did that. But all these things together, the attitude, the dogma, the suppression of things. Now with rituals, Protestantism exists, so they really don't have, I mean, there's some of those don't even have baptism or the communion, so there's no thing like that. So I disagree with you, but only slightly, and I say that yes, that I understand when people say atheism is a religion. Most of it, some people are just crazy, but I'm seeing it, and it's scaring the hell out of me that because of good arguments that are just, you know, or one-liners or something like that that crack at the infallible Bibles theory, we're getting a flood of these evangelical fundamentalists, a lot of from America that don't know jack shit about anything other else, and then they're going to. They're not changing at all. They're not any more rational. They may be right about there not being a God, but they're acting in the same exact way, and that's poison, I think. Take it easy. Peace to you. All right.